Kadosh Boker or Daf Yomi Masechet Sanhedrin Daf Amud Aleph 71a1 says the Gemara Eno Naaseh Ben Surun Moreat Sheyochal Basav Yishteh Yain. So we were by the two dots at the top of the page where it says that a person does not become a Ben Surun Moreh unless he's going to eat meat and drink wine. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in the Braita Achal Kol Ma'achal V'lo Achal Basar. What happens if he ate any type of a food but not meat? Or Shata Kol Mashkev Lo Shata Yain. Or he drank any type of a liquid but he didn't drink wine. Eno Naaseh Ben Surun Moreh. He does not become Ben Surun Moreh Ad Sheyochal Basav Yishteh Yain, until he's going to eat meat and drink wine. Shneimar, but says in a pasuk, Zolel vesoveh. What does that mean? If you remember, we already brought a pasuk that it had to do with wine, and that's what he's going to say right now. So whenever it says soveh, it means of yain. Bezolele basar lamo. Again, zolel is basar. And it says ki soveh vezolel yivaresh. That means a person is at the end is going to become poor. Ukraim, and a person that has torn clothing, talbish numa. He's going to come and he's going to have shena. It says here, because of the atzlut and the shena, it comes and it causes a person to wear clothing which are going to be torn. Anybody that's going to sleep in the Bet HaMidrash, so his Torah is going to become to him for kraim, meaning he's going to forget it because he's learning it with sirugin, and therefore shneimar ukraim talbish numa, which means that he's going to forget his learning. Says the Mishnah. Okay, we're on the Mishnah on Ayin Aleph Amud Aleph. Okay, there's going to be a few Mishnayot right here today. We are on the first one, the top one. Okay, number one, Ganav mishel aviv ve'achal b'shut aviv. Right, if right now he stole money from the father and he ate it, right, also in the property of the father, or mishel acherim, he stole from other people, ve'achal b'shut acherim, and he ate in the reshut of the other people, or mishel acherim ve'achal b'shut aviv. Or he stole from the other people, but he ate it in the possession of his father. Eno naaseh ben soren moreh. He does not become a ben soren moreh. Ad shignov mishel aviv yochal b'shut acherim. It has to be that he's stealing from his father, but he's eating it in the reshut of other people. Obviously, the Gemara is going to explain why. Okay. But first he has to steal the money, and then he buys the meat and the wine. Okay, so he has to steal. So basically, what the Mishnah is teaching us that it has to be stealing from the father and eating in other people's reshut. Okay, the Gemara is going to explain. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Ad shignov mishel aviv umishel imo. It has to be that he's stealing from both aviv and imo. Okay, so that means even if he's going to be, it has to be mamash from both of them together, not only just from the father. Okay, says the Gemara. Let's see. Ganav mishel aviv ve'achal b'shut aviv. Right, he comes and he says if he's going to steal from the father and he's going to eat in the reshut of the father, af al gav d'shchiach, even though the father's money is very easily found to him, right, which means he could steal it very easily. Nevertheless, right, bait, he's still afraid, and therefore, since he's still afraid of the father, we're not going to say that he's going to still continue doing that. That's why, right, he says. Mishel acherim ve'achal b'shut acherim, afal gav d'lo bait. He says the same halacha would apply that if he's going to steal from other people and eat it in the reshut of other people, right, he's going to eat it in a place where he's not afraid, right? Why? He's not afraid of the father. So because of that, we're going to suspect that he is going to do that. Nevertheless, he's not going to become a ben soren moreh because since the money was from other people, lo shchiach, it is not found to him, meaning he actually has to look for the other people's money in order to steal it. The kol shekem mishel acherim, all the more so if he's going to steal from other people and he's going to eat it b'shut aviv, that here it's lo shchiach ubait, that here he's going to be, the money is not found to him because again he's stealing from other people, and if he's stealing from other people, so the money is not found to him, and bait, he is afraid of the father still. But it says the Gemara, ad shignov mishel aviv yochal b'shut acherim, it has to be that he's stealing from his father and he's eating in other people's reshut, the shchiach le velo bait, because at the end of the day the money is found to him and he's not afraid, and therefore since right now he's not afraid because he's eating it in a place where he's not afraid of the father, we're going to say that he's also going to do so in the future. Again, from the parents, he knows where his parents have the money. It's not like he has to go into somebody's house, steal, pashut, takes, that's it, it's shchiach, but to do with the afraid, being afraid, here he is going to be afraid if it's going to be right in the parents' property, but if it's going to be in other people's property, obviously he's not afraid. So then he's going to continue doing so in the future. So basically, you're only going to be chayav if we suspect that you're going to continue doing so in the future. So it's a svara. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda says it has to be that he has to steal from both. Shignom shel aviv umishel imo. Imo menale. How do you know that it has to be also that it belonged to the mother also as well? So he says, Mashe kanta isha kana bala. Says, 1 second. Usually, whatever the woman acquires belongs to her husband. So therefore, even if it, so therefore, what is it? No, you have to also steal from the mother as well, right? So he says, Amar Rabbi Yosef v'Rabbi Chanina. Says Rabbi Yosef v'Rabbi Chanina, Miseuda muchenet le'aviv u'limo. We're talking about that it was a seuda that was prepared for also, right, the father and the mother. So therefore, since it was also prepared for the mother and he stole from that seuda, it's considered that he stole from the mother as well. Not only from the father, but from the mother.
From the mother and the father. That's what we want to say.
Also the same thing. Yeah. Even according to Shitat Rabbi Yosef, according to Rabbi Yosef, yeah, the regular case was that he's stealing money and he's buying the food, right? But even if he would steal the food and he's eating it, salam shos. Okay, this is the Shita of Rabbi Yosef, right? Be Rabbi Yehuda. Right? The Gemara though comes and he says, but 1 second, but I thought that we just said that it was that you're getting money and you're buying food. So you say you're right. We're talking about that means it's not that he actually stole, right, the meat and the wine. It's stealing the money. But he comes and he says, but it has to be money which was already prepared for that seudah. So since it's going to be money which is prepared for that seudah, it's considered that he stole from both. Right? One more time. According to Shitat Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, he added that it had to be shel imo. Now, what's the pshat? If he comes to his mother's wallet and steals money from the mother's wallet, that belongs to the father. So again, he stole from the father. So if he says, so what's the pshat? He actually stole the meat and the wine, but it has to be, how could it be then? So he says, no, let's say, for example, right, that they have money that it's going to be right now for a seudah. They're going to have they're buying, they're taking takeout tonight, right? So they have money already for tonight, and now it's a seudah for both the father and the mother. So if it's going to be for a seudah for both the father and the mother, it takes away that now it's also shiach to the mother. Because again, remember, according to Shita, it also has to be the mother. We ask all the money that everything belongs to the mother. No, it's a seudah which is fitting also for the mother, and therefore, since it's fitting for the mother, it's also going to apply. If you want, you can answer another answer. He says, 1 second. Again, according to Shita of Yosef Yehuda, we have a technical issue. He says in the Mishnah, he has to steal from the mother. How do you steal from the mother? Anything that you steal from the mother, anyways, from the father. So therefore, what does that mean? Because no, somebody came and he said to the mother, I'm giving you this money on condition that it's only yours. Your husband has nothing to do with this. Right? But even in Yerusha, you have to say this. If you do not say this, it doesn't help. Which means that it has to be that if I come and I give you the money and I say, Al menat she'en lebaalech reshut bahem. Right? I come, I give you $10. Now it's hers. If that's hers and now he steals those $10, who ganav mimo? Because again, we had the question, right? How do you find the case of ganav mimo? It's always me'aviv anyway. This is the second answer. Okay? Second Mishnah. Haya aviv rotzeh v'imo eno rotzeh. What happens if the father wants to bring him to Bedin, to kill him, right? To bring him as a vet, right? And the mother does not want. The mother doesn't want to bring him. Aviv eno rotzeh, v'imo rotzeh, or the other way around. The father doesn't want to bring him, but the mother wants to bring him. Eno naaseh ben soden more. It does not become ben soden more. Ad shiyu shnehem rotzim. Until both of them want. But it says v'tafis uvo aviv imo. Right? What does that mean? It's mashma that both of them have to want. Right? If you remember in Musar, we already spoke about this. Because in Musar we said that if right now they cannot come and they cannot decide together in order to bring the child to Bedin or not, so therefore in such a scenario, what do you want from the child? It's not the child's fault. So he's not a ben sorer umoreh. He's only going to be a ben sorer umoreh, right? Only if it's going to be, right, in a scenario where be'emet, right, he's, the two parents are on the same page. Because if the two parents are not on the same page, זה לא האשמה של הילד, זה האשמה של ההורים. Rabbi Yehuda comes and he says, אם לא הייתה אמו ראויה לאביו, אינו נעשה בן סודם ומורה. Another halacha. What happens right now if the mother was not fitting for the father? So obviously the Gemara is going to explain. Right, the Gemara is going to explain. What does that mean? The mother was not fitting for the father. Also, the child does not become a ben sorer umore. So let's see the Gemara. What does it mean now that the mother is not fitting for the father? If you're going to tell me that it's not fitting because she was a chayave kritut, right? V'chayve mito betin or chayve mito betin. So he says sof sof avua ninhu ve'ime im ninu. What do I care? At the end of the day, it's still the father or it's still the mother. Let's say he went and he got married to somebody that's chayve kritut. Chayve mito bedin. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be a sister. It could be an aunt. It could be a whatever it is. Doesn't matter what. Yeah, a sister-in-law. It could be a. It could be. So 1 second. At the end of the day, is it the father? Yes. Is it the mother? Yes. So what do I care now about the marriage? Right? So says the Gemara. Right? So why did he say no? So he says, Ela b'shavela aviv kama. When a Yudah comes and it says that the mother has to be fitting for the father, the kavanah is it has to be shaveh, right? Shaveh in the kol mar'eh uvkoma, right? And that's what it says now. Tani Miyach, we learned this in the Braita. The Braita says, Yudah man, im lo hayta imo shaveh la'aviv bekol mar'eh uvkoma, eno na'aseh ben sodom ureh. If she's not going to be the same to the husband in kol, what is kol? The same voice. Mar'eh, same appearance. Uvkoma, same height. They don't become ben sorer mure.
So never happened.
Huh?
Never happened.
No. So the truth is, there's a ben sorer. There's a maharsha. The maharsha comes and it says that this is a euphemism. This is metaphorically that when it says that a person is going to be shaveh, right? You can never find that a husband is going to be shaveh, right? Whether it's going to be in kol mareh koma to his wife, right? If they have the same voice, it's not a good sign. Yeah, because that means probably she's an Ilonit or I don't know what. You understand? If it's going to be the same mar'eh, I don't know. I don't know what the case is, right? Or you're talking about the same koma. So the same kol. So the same call, right? The same call, right? You come and you have that the concept is that the same call means that they have the same voice. They're always on the same page, meaning that the husband is going to say one thing and the mother is going to say the same thing. Not that they have a different call. If they have a different call, it's going to be a problem. And then we spoke about mitzad musar, that what is the she'eno shomea kol aviv v'kol imo? Kol aviv is the kol Torah, and the kol imo, kol Torah v'kol tefillah, and kol imo is the same thing, right? The kol tefillah shel imo. Right? If he does not listen to the kol aviv kol imo, that's why he becomes a ben sorer umore, obviously. So then there's mar'eh. What is the mar'eh? The same appearance. Many times it happens that even if the father and the mother will disagree, what is appearing? He wants to test them. So right now the mother gets very angry, but he wants to see, but the father's laughing away. So he knows that it's a joke. They don't have the same mar'eh because he's saying one thing, she's saying the other thing, and they don't have the same koma as a spiritual height. So therefore, what happens is that in such a case that it has to be all three of them together, right? That's the pshat of not having a ben sorer, because if not, then obviously they're going to have a ben sorer umure. Okay? Right? My tama. Yeah? What's the reasoning? Right? My tama. What's the reasoning? So we come and we say like this. What's the reasoning, right, that we say that they have to be domeh, whether it's going to be in these three things? The Pasuk says, enenu shomea bekolenu. So if it says enenu shomea bekolenu, it has to be that they have the same kol. Umidekol ba'inan shaveh. Now, if you need the same kol, mareve komanam ba'inan shavin. So therefore, you also need the same koma. So says the Gemara. So who's it going like this? Braita. The Braita says Ben Sorer More lo hayav lo atiliot. Right? This is what David mentioned before. 1 second. Ben Sorer More. There's a shita in the Braita that never happened, and it was never going to happen. So then why in the world is it written? If it never happened and it was never going to happen, so why in the world are we writing about it? So he says Derosh v'kabel schar. Right? In order to be doresh and to be mikabel schar. So Keman, who does that go like? Like Shitat Rabbi Yehuda. Why? If according to Shitat Rabbi Yehuda, they have to have the exact same kol, mar'eh, and koma, so therefore obviously he's the one that says that it doesn't exist. Because you'll never find such a thing. So if you're never going to find such a thing in Mitziyut, so if obviously, right, it's going to be like that. Now again, there's a Ben Ishchai, there's this or that, but meaning if you're going, how do you call it? That it's mamash like physically, like what it's written, it doesn't exist such a thing. When are you going to have the exact same appearance, the exact same height, the exact same kol? You're not going to find it. So who is that? That's Rabbi Yehuda. So it means Rabbi Yehuda is the one that holds Afam Roya Velo Nivra. Shitat Rabbi Yehuda. Right? Ibai Tema. Or if you want, you could say that really be'emet, right? This is going like Rabbi Shimon. The Tanya was learned in the Braita. Rabbi Shimon says Rabbi Shimon. He says, I don't understand you. Okay, misken the child. Fine. He ate a tarmitar basar. Remember, the tarmitar was half of the 480 grams. So it's 240 grams of meat. So mamash, because he ate 240 grams of meat, or because he drank the whatever it was, the chatzilog, whatever it is, the yain, that's it? You're going to kill him? Take him out, stone him to death? What's going on? Which one?
Like, what's the...
Yeah. So he says, Ela lo haya velo atid liyot. So it was obviously it wasn't. So he says, Velama nechtav. So why bemet was it written? Derosh vekabel sachar. In order to be doresh vekabel sachar. Says the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Yonatan, says Rabbi Yonatan, Ani reitiv v'yashavti al kivro. I saw a ben soren umure. I saw him, right? And he was killed. He was yashavti al kivro, ani hayiti al kever shelo. So basically, obviously, Rabbi Yonatan is arguing on Rabbi Yehuda, and he's saying that b'metziut there was ben soren umure. Yeah. Again, I told you, machloket. According to Rabbi Yehuda and according to Rabbi Shimon, no. But according to Rabbi Yonatan, there was. He says, I saw the ben soren umure, v'ani hayiti al kever shelo. Yeah.
אבל הוא ראה, תכף סוברים שלו, אני הייתי שם,
There's a whole question, right? There's a whole question, because Rabbi Yonatan was actually also a Kohen. So that's another question. So how was he sitting on the kever? Right, but whatever. But basically, he's just trying to say that it could be that really be'emet, right? He says there was b'metziut to ben Surah Moreh, and also maybe it can be that right, somebody like of Shalom, that they judged him like a ben Surah Moreh. Okay, there's a ben Bachiyai, there's a lot of what to talk about. But again, there's a machloket. Okay, so says the Gemara, right? This machloket is also very similar to Idan Idachat. Right? We learned a lot about the Idan Idachat recently, if you remember, within the Masechet Sanhedrin. So says the Gemara, right? Kemanaz la hadetanya, who does it go like this? Braita, Idan Idachat lo aita velo atida liot. It never existed in Idan Idachat. Just like it never existed Ben Surah Moreh, according to the Shita. So he says, huh? One second. So he says, Velama nichteva. So why bemet was it written? The concept of right ben sorenu more. So he says, Derosh vekabel sachar. The same thing, right? Expound on it and be vekabel sachar. So Kiman, who does that go like? Like Rabbi Eliezer. The Tanya was learned to write Rabbi Eliezer, man, kol yishesh ba'afilu mezuzah achat. And then I say, if there's going to be one mezuzah in the entire city, it's not in Nidachat. Because that shows that really be'emet. That means even though it has to be rov yoshvia to do avodah zarah, right? He says it cannot be that there's not one mezuzah. And according to his shita, there's one mezuzah, nada. Okay, the Gemara is going to explain why. My time of why. Amarka says the pasuk ve'kol shelat tikbotz al toch rechovav v'sarat habayesh. You have to take everything in the city and you have to burn it. Ve'kevan di'ika mezuzah lo efshar. If you have a mezuzah, you can't burn it. So because you cannot burn it, if you're going to have one mezuzah in the entire city, that's it. There's no Yiran Nidachat anymore. Dichtiv, right? Dichtiv was it says in Pasuk, 1 second. He says, Lo ta'asum kel Hashem lokachem. You're not allowed to do that to Hashem God, which means since you're not allowed to burn anything to do with Hashem, so therefore it's not going to be, right? An Yiran Nidachat. So Rabbi Yonatan says, Rabbi Yonatan, ani ri'tiya. Right? I came and I saw it. V'yashavti al tila. Right? And I sat on the mount of the Yiran Nidachat. Right? Which means that he says that even though you cannot be mekayem the mitzvah and everything because of the mezuzah, it's not going to take it away. So he says, why? Because you could do it on everything else. So therefore he comes and he says, right, it's okay. You take away the mezuzah, or you take away any kitvei kodesh or anything else that might have whatever it is, right? But okay, so you can't be mekayem that prat, right? That detail. But not because then you're not going to have Yiran Nidachat. So kiman azah de Tanya, beta minuga. What about beta minuga? So look how many machlokot. We had one machlokot to do with ben sorenu moreh. Again, it's a machlokot. So זאת אומרת, מישהו שואל אותך, האם ben sorenu moreh היה או לא היה? התשובה צריך להיות מחלוקת. לא שלא היה או כן היה, מחלוקת. לא משנה. אבל הוא נותן עדות. הוא נותן עדות. בסדר, זה משהו אחר. You have a question. לא משנה. He's giving עדות. They're coming and they're saying it does not happen in you, not because they didn't see it. I'm going to ask you a question. If you didn't see a sotah nowadays, or you didn't see a ben sorenu moreh, is that a proof that it never happened? Not seeing is not a proof. Seeing it is much stronger, right? Why? Because I saw it. What do you mean? I saw Ben Surah Moreh. That's much stronger. The fact that you didn't see, okay, maybe in your neighborhood, Baruch Hashem, you were with good things. It's not a proof, right? They were saying a mitzat svara, right? Well, just like Irani Dachat. He's coming tzak svara. Why? Because you can't burn the mezuzah. So says Rabbi Yonatan, what's the big deal? Don't burn the mezuzah. Take it away. Take out the mezuzah. Burn everything else. What's the big deal? Right? You're not going to have Irani Dachat? You have it. So the second, so the first one was Ben Sudan Mureh. Second one, Irani Dachat. Third one, Baita Minuga. What is Baita Minuga? Right? A house, a Hatzarat. So he says, Lo Yavel Atiliot. So why do you have the halachot then? Who does that go like? Again, like Rabbi Elazar, Shimon. The Tanambas we learned in the Mishnah, Rabbi Elazar, Shimon Omer, Leolam en Abayit Tameat Sheira'eh ki shte grisin sheshte aravanim. He says there's not going to be tumat sarat in the house unless you're going to see two grisin on two different stones. Ki shte ktalim v'keren zavit. Right? One in one corner, another one in the other corner. Okay? And it's going to be on both of them. Meaning you have like this, right? Like a corner, and it's going to be going on one to another. Right? You have like this. It's going to be like exactly. Okay? So he says like this. So he says, so he says, Orko ki shne grisin, verochbo kegris. So you have to have it on every single even. You're going to have a negam ruba, like a gris al gris, right? And therefore he says it's not common. Meaning if you're just going to say, listen, bait menuga just means you have tzarat, fine. But to have it in such has to be dafka the corner. It has to be that it's going on like how do you call like the L, like like the thing, having exactly two grisin, one gris, the thickness. How are you gonna find such a thing, right? So he comes and he says, okay, this is again, it's all going to be based upon the Gemara and everything. So he wanted to say that it has to be dafka this measurement. So says the Gemara, my time Shimon. He says ktiv kir, ktiv kirot. Now ezu kir shi kirot. He says if you find it al kirabite. But then it says, if you're going to find on the kirot is plural. So how do you have a kir which is like kirot? So he says keren zavit. Keren zavit is always going to be, because it's like stein, right? So therefore it's going to be the kir, but it's shtekirot. So therefore it's going to be keren zavit. So Tanya, we learned in a braita, right? Amar Rabbi Elazar ben Sodok, makom haya betchum Aza, vayukorin oto churbata segirata, right? Churba mitzorat. Why? Because it was beta menuga. So therefore, you see from here, Rabbi Elazar ben Tzadok comes and he says, "What are you talking about? What are you telling me now that there's no baita menuga?" Rabbi Elazar ben Tzadok says there was a place in Aza, yeah, that they did have it. It was called Churbata Segirata. So Amar Rabbi Shimon, right? Ish Kvarako. פעם אחת הלכתי לגליל, I went to the גליל, וראיתי מקום שמציינים אותו, ואמרו הנצר, אבנים מנוגעות פינו לשם. That the אבנים מנוגעות of tzara, they came and they put it here. So it comes out also the Elizabeth Tzadok and also the Shimon Ish Kfar Yaakov, they both testified that be'emet there was a baita menuga. So again, you have the machlokot to yes, no, whatever, but again, it comes out that it is a machloket. Third Mishnah on the page. Ayin Aleph Amud Aleph on the bottom. Haya echad mihem gidem. What happens if one of the parents is gidem? Gidem means that they don't have the hands. Or chiger, that's his feet, right? Or ilem. He says even one hand. Yado ketua or raglo ketua. Or ilem. Or he couldn't talk. He was mute. Or suma. Or he was blind. Or cheresh. Or deaf mute. Eno nasa ben sorer umore. He does not become ben sorer umore. Shneimar, but it says in a pasuk, v'tafes uvo avi v'imo. Right? What does that mean? They had to grab him. How do you grab? You can't grab with one hand. So it has to be with two hands. So therefore, v'tafes uvo v'imo, v'lo gidemim. It cannot be that they're a gidem. Hotziu oto. They take him out. How do you take out somebody? You have to walk with them. V'lo chigrin. It cannot be that they are a chiger. Right? Because then again, it's only mitzad dachak. Ve'ameru. They both have to say. Right? Benenu zeh. Velo ilemin. So it can't be that one of them is going to be mute. Benenu zeh. Right? This son. What do you mean this son? They have to see him. If they can't see him, they can't see this one. They don't know who it is. So therefore, velo sumin. Cannot be that they're blind. Enenu shomea bekolenu. He does not listen to our voice. So when it says that it's mashma that they have to hear. So if they have to hear, right? Velo chirshin. It cannot be that they are cheresh. So therefore, basically, what we are doing is we're being medayek from the Pesukim. Exactly how does it have to be the parents of the ben sorer umore? Huh? Yes. Yeah, each one. Matrimbo, right? At the beginning, they're going to be matrebo. What does that mean? They have to give him a warning bifnei shlosha. They give him a warning in front of 3 people. Okay? And since he didn't listen, right? Malkinoto. They give him lashes. Okay? So here it says that if we see that he starts becoming like a ben surumure, the parents will come and give him tochacha. If he doesn't listen, right? the first he gets lashes, and only afterwards, right? That's pshat v'yiseru oto, right? V'yiseru oto means that he gets lashes, okay? And then only after they're getting lashes, then they would come and they would bring him to the bedin. When it says chazar v'kilkel, what does it mean chazar v'kilkel? When he comes and he does it again, so he says nidon, right? So he's going to be judged with 23 dayanim. Yeah. So he says over here, but he needs the original 3 dayanim that were there when he got the lashes. The one that got lashes in front of you. So it's actually very, very interesting, because here it's not that right away we come and we say, this is a benzo, go kill him. No. First of all, he gets a tochacha, and he's going to get lashes. And only after he's doing it again, that's when you come and you take him to a bedim. But you need the original 3 from 100%. Tochacha is a rebuke, reproach. Okay, okay, fine. Says the Gemara, Shemat Mina, we learn from here, Ba'inan Kra Kedichtiv. What does that mean? The pasuk has to be kayem exactly the way that it's written. Yeah, with all the pratim, because that's all we did. Meaning, we had a pasuk, and we were doresh the pasuk that everything had to happen. That means it comes out that if it's done exactly the way that it's written in the pasuk, kamanu. Shanehacha says the Gemara, no, but it's not true. Why? He says it's different over here. Ayin Aleph Amu Bet 71b. The entire pasuk is extra. So since the entire pasuk was extra, that's why they were doresh the entire pasuk to teach you certain halachot. Okay, that means usually you don't need. It's not you always need it like that. Here it was extra, so why was it to teach you this halakha? So says the 2 dots, right? Umatrin bifnei shlosha, right? They're going to come and they're going to warn in front of 3 people, and then they give lashes. Lama le bitrei sagia. He says, I don't understand. Why do you have to give him hatra'a in front of 3 people? Usually, you only need 2 witnesses. So why do you need 3? So he says, Amarabaya says, Hachi kamaduz means matrin bo bifnei shnaim umalkin oto bifnei shlosha. No, you're right. You give him tochacha in front of 2 witnesses, but it's in front of 3 that you give him the malkut, which is the bedim. Malkut be ben soden. So he says, 1 second, but where's it written anywhere of malkut in ben soden moreh? So he answers the Gemara, Keder b'yavul lekavod. Amar b'yavul lemanu v'yisiru, right? V'yisiru. And v'yisiru mi ben, uben, right? Mi bin, right? But it says, v'yayim bin hakot rasha. Right? For those that are learning makot, it makes sense. Right? What does that mean? We are making gzera shava from v'yisiru oto. What is v'yisiru oto? Motzi shemra. When somebody comes and he's being motzi shemra on a woman, saying that, for example, that she's not a betula. Right? So what happens? They come and they give her a punishment, right? They give him a punishment. Yisiru, they give him malkut. So they learn v'yisiru from motzi shemra to v'yisiru from ben soden moreh. Now, v'yisiru from ben soden moreh, they're also going to learn, right, from the ben, where it says in the parasha ben soden moreh. It's learned from the bin, which is brought down from vayayim bin hakot rasha, which means that dir malkut, which means just like v'yisiru by ben soden moreh is lashon malkut. Right? Why was we learn of v'yisiru? So too by motzi shemra, it's also going to be it's also going to be malkut. So therefore, it comes out that we learn from here the mekor of chiyuv malkut is by ben sorer umoreh. Okay, we found it. Where do we find it? From vayayim bin hakot rasha. Vayayim bin hakot rasha teaches you that you have to give lashes to the rasha. Ben sorer umoreh, they learn from bin hakot rasha. So it's bin, it's ben from bin, right? And then you learn v'yisiru from motzi shemra to v'yisiru from the ben soden mureh. It says v'yisiru oto. Okay, nekuda, 2 dots. Okay, chazar v'kilkel. If again he did it again, now he's going to be judged with 23 dayanim. So says the Gemara, hay mibaye lezeh velo sumin. 1 second. I thought that when it said benenu zeh, it means zeh shata roeh oto, that you could see him. So it can be that they're blind. So then why do you saying now the benenu zeh means that it has to be the 3 same dayanim that they saw him get lashes? You can't use the same zeh for 2 different things. So says the Gemara, in ken, if so, lichtov benenu hu. This is our child. My benenu zeh, shemamina tarte, teaches you 2 different halachot. Number 1, that they cannot be blind, because they have to actually see which child it is. And number 2, also, that it has to be the same bedin, the same 3 dayanim out of the 23 that they were there at the first time around when he was supposed to get when he got the lashes. Okay, fine. Next Mishnah. Mishnah Ayin Aleph Amud Bet. Okay, Barach Ad Shelo Nigmar Dino. What happens if the Ben Sodom ran away? He escaped, right? Ad Shelo Nigmar Dino, before the Nigmar Din. ואחר כך הקיף זקף התחתון, and then afterwards he now has the zakan התחתון, which means the pubic hair, which already gets filled up. Patur. He's going to be patur. Why? Now they can't judge him anymore. So therefore, that's it. He was already gadol. That's it. They can't judge him. But if he ran away when he was nigmar din already, he's still going to be chayav. Meaning, once it was a gemar din, I don't care what's going to happen afterwards, right? You remember we already learned this. That the second that there's a gemar din, you kill them in any death penalty that you can. So, right, you remember I told you the thing. Imagine right now there's a gemar din. The person has to get sekila. The guy takes off. He's in a helicopter. I could take a missile, boom, blow up the helicopter, right? Or I go on the helicopter and I'm going to be on the what's it called? And I see him that he's running away in a boat. So I take out my sniper rifle, I aim, and boom, and I'm going to put a bullet through his head. You're allowed to. Why? Because once it's Kumar Din, you kill him in any death penalty, any death possible. Yeah? Says the Gemara. Amar Rabbi Chanina, says Rabbi Chanina. Benoach shabirech et Hashem. When you have a Benoach that comes and he blesses the name. Right? Again, obviously, blessing is a euphemism. It's not really levarech, it's a fuch. So he's going to come and he's going to... And afterwards he converts. Yeah, patur. He's not going to be killed. Because now once he converts, right, he's a completely different human being. So therefore, right now you can't actually judge him in front of the 23. And also it's going to change. Not only dino, it's going to change also his mita. Because basically what happens is that when before the gerut, the goy is going to be obligated through one dayan and without any hatra'ah. Meaning he gets killed, right, with one dayan, and there's no warning. You don't have to give him a warning. Now that he's Jewish, if he would do such a thing, what does he need? He needs 23 dayanim, and he needs also 2 edim to testify, and he needs a warning. Also, nishtane mitato. Why is it mitato? He says because, right, when he does it as a goy, it's always saif. Remember that goyim, the regular death penalty of a goy is hereg, is saif, with a sword. He says now if he would do it, it's sekilah. So because right now there's going to be a difference that everything changed his deen, and it changed his punishment. So for it's a completely new punishment. It's a new entity. We cannot judge him on the same way. So says the Gemara, so one second, this is a proof. To barachat shalom nigmar dino, he's going to be patur. My time, what's reasoning? He says once he changed. Which means if right now it changed his status quo, gamanu. So therefore this is a proof to our Mishnah. The proof is that right now, what do we say? We said that he ran away right before the Gemar Din. He was very, very smart. He ran away. Once he's not here, we can't judge him anymore. All of a sudden, he gives the kafatachton. If it was the kafatachton, he doesn't have the same halachot anymore. So once it's ishtane. Gamarnu. Once it changed. So therefore, the Gamarnu. So says the Gemara, no, you can't bring a proof to that. Why? Shane hacha, it's different over here. The avad hashta lavba katalahu. He says, but if he would have done it now, he wouldn't have been killed. Meaning it's not that it changed, because there's a big difference. Our case is that it's changing from one punishment to another punishment, or from one way how to punish, right, through a bedin, to another way. Here, he's patur legamre. When you have a ben soden umureh, shekvar הוא כבר הקיף זקף התחתון, הוא יכול לעשות בדיוק אותו דבר, and he's still going to be patur. But it's patur legamre. It's not that it changed the halacha. It's not that one of them is sekila, now is saif, or one of them you need 2 edim, and now you don't. No. He's completely patur. That's why he says. So you can't bring me a proof, right, from this halacha. So Tashema, we're going to try to bring a proof then. If right now nigmar dino, and all of a sudden now he runs away, and now he's going to be chayav. But why? Nigmar dino kamarta, nigmar dino gavra katilo. He says, one second, what are you trying to bring me a proof from nigmar adin? When he's nigmar adin, gamarno, he's already a dead man. We look at him as a dead man. He's already dead. So you can't bring a proof from gemar adin, right? But gemar adin, that's it. There's nothing more to talk about. So Tashema, let's try to bring another proof then. Ben Noach. Yeah, when you have a Ben Noach, shikat chaviro, he hits his friend. So one Ben Noach to another Ben Noach. Ubala she'eshet chaviro, or he commits adultery. V'nitgayer. And then he's going to be mitgayer. Patur. He's going to be patur. Right? Now, what happens is that usually we know that even he should be chayav. right? Asaken Israel, right? If he did that, which means he killed a Jew or he had relations with a Jewish woman, and then afterwards nitkayer, he's going to be chayav, right? He's going to be chayav. Now the question is why? It should be different. Why? Right? At the beginning, right? Even one ed comes, right? And even one dayan, without hatra'ah, we kill him, correct? Now you need two edim, and you bedin of 23, right? So therefore, in such a case, what's going on? Now, in both cases, it's still chayav mitah, because eshetish, even the goyim are chayavim on eshetish, right? Gilui rayot is eshetish even for the goy. So, yes, the second that they live together, it's called nisuin. That's the way to get married. No, because in nisuin no chalim al yehudi al goya. So says the Gemara, dino umitato bainan. No, he says we need that it should be the same din and the same mitah. Here, right? Ishtane mitato, dino mishtane, mitato mishtane. The death penalty doesn't change. It's only the mitah. The how do you call this? The mishtato is lo mishtane, right? Because basically he's going to be chayav mitah anyway with a saif. It's only going to be the din is going to be mishtane, but not the mitah, right? So he says, one second. Everyone understood what happened. One more time. In all these cases, there's going to be two different aspects. One of them is the din. The din is that when a ben noach comes and he does something, all you need is one dayan. All you need is one ed, and you don't even need hatrah. For a Jew, you always need two edim, you need hatrah, and you need 23 dayanim. Okay, so that's going to be called the din. There's a din. So there's going to be a change in din. Right? That's din. That's the process of the prosecution. Okay. There's going to be another concept. Mitah. Meaning that let's say, for example, if Ben Noach would do something, he gets a certain mitah. And now that if he's going to be a Jew, it's another mitah. So therefore, it's changing the mitah. So says the Gemara, when do we say that everything changes? Only if they both change, the din and the mitah. So in the case of, for example, there where he's mevarechet Hashem, right, or things that, so there it changes, and then he's mitkayer. It changes the din, because the second he's mitkayer, he now needs hatra'ah, he needs two witnesses, he needs 23 dayanim. Plus it changes the death penalty. Because beforehand, the death penalty would have been saif, right, which is headache, and now the death penalty is going to be sikila. So because of that, since it changed also the din, and also the mitah, that changes everything. But not if you're only changing one. So says the Gemara, Bishlema rotzeach, right? I understand a murder. Mikara b'saif, vehashta b'saif. Murder, it's the same. If somebody murders, he gets headache in both cases. But to do with Eshetish, what's going on? The Ben Noach that commits adultery, he gets saif. He gets, again, because stam mitah by the Ben Noach is always staif, is always with the sword. But now he gets chenek, so it's not the same. So says the Gemara, Benara meorasa de idi vidi biskila. He says, no, we're talking about that he has relations with the Nara meorasa, that also Ben Noach and also Israel gets sekila. Yeah, so therefore now, right, it's not going to change the mitah after he's going to be mitgayer. Meaning, according to Bnei Israel, there's going to be Yerusin and Kiddushin, so obviously there's going to be a difference between sekila, right, and chenek. Oh wow! The Gemara says it above in Nun Zayin Amud Bet that also, right, when it says ish, it's coming l'rabo bedinei Noach, that even a ben Noach is also going to be chayav sekila on Aram Odasa. Meaning, even though usually by a goy it's going to be saif, here it's sekila as well. So if he's going to have relations with an Aram Odasa, whether he was a goy or a Jew, it's the same death penalty. It's the same mitah. No, but that's the din. The din, you don't need the same din. Understand? Meaning, again, one more time, meaning the din changes when he's mitkayer, but it's the same mitah. The fact that it's the same mitah, even though it's a different din, he's still going to be chayav. No, that's what we just said. No, but not by Na'ara Morasa. Na'ara Morasa sekila by shtehem. Gam legabe goy v'gam legabe yehudi.
Still needs the 23 judges and the two of them. And the
only if he's a Jew. Yeah, but he's not a Jew here. Here he's a Ben Noach. Now, even though now he's going to come and he's going to convert, but it only changed the din. It didn't change the mitah. Zoto mitah.
I understand, but here you're saying for her, it does change the mitah.
So says the Gemara, we're talking about a Ben Noach that had relations with the Nara Morasa, that both of them get Sekila. Whether it's going to be a Ben Noach or a Yisrael, they both get Sekila. Veha can be Yisrael. He says, one second, but when the Braita says, Asa can be Yisrael Chayav, it's mashma, right? That right now, if he's going to be Balesh at Chavero, he's going to be Patur. So it's mashma that the same halacha that Reish Tama Reish Chavero, we're talking about the same thing. So what's going on then? We cannot come and say it's Nara Morasa Yisrael, but rather, he says, Kala b'chamura mishach shayche. He says, Amita chamura also has a mita kala. So therefore, in such a case, right, we have the same nidon. Because at the beginning, it was going to be mitat saif, which is more chamur, and now it's going to be chenek, which is going to be more kal. And therefore, he comes and he says, Moder b'chanina, so you're not going to be making patur mionash, meaning like this. We were talking about a goy. He did an avera, and then he's mitgayer. So we wanted to say it's going to become patur. Why is he going to become patur? Right? Because it changed the din and it changed the mitah. Now we wanted to say, what happens if it only changes one? Either the din or the mitah. It's not enough. So then we said, okay, fine. So what's a case where it does not change the mitah? So we brought down Nara Morasa. So we make a diuk from the Braita. The Braita says that if imasa can be Yisrael, it's a different halacha. One second. You just told me it's Nara Morasa. It's the same halacha for both. Also Ben Noach and also Yisrael. Sekila for both. Says the Gemara, you're right. You know what we're talking about? When a goy comes and he commits adultery, what's the death penalty?
Safe.
Saif. What is saif called in our terms? Hereg. Hereg. Hereg, is hereg more strong or more light than chenek? Stricter or less?
Less. More, sorry.
More. It's actually machloket Rabbi Shimon and Chachamim. Right, very good. Even though it's a machloket, Rabbi Shimon holds the opposite, but we paskin sekila, serefa, hereg, v'chenek. Chenek is the least. If a Jew commits adultery, what does he get? Chenek. It's a lower level. So he comes and he says, right now the death penalty changed. When he was a goy and he committed adultery, he gets hereg. When he's a Jew and he commits adultery, he gets chenek. But since chenek is lower level, it's included in the hereg. So therefore, even though it changes the mitah, but the fact that it's still included in the hereg, because at the end of the day, chenek, so he's still chayav. He would only be patur. He would be chayav. Why would he be chayav? Because even though now he's mitgayer, chenek is included in the hereg. So therefore, he's still going to be chayav. I'm not going to make him patur. And therefore, that's what he says over here, right? So he says, Hani chal Rabbanan, says the Gemara, that's only good according to the Rabbanan, that they say that saif is going to be more chamur to chenek, but according to Rabbi Shimon, that says the exact opposite. What are you going to say? So answers the Gemara, Rabbi Shimon holds like according to him, he holds that really be'emet, Ben Noach only get chenek. Meaning it comes out that we just learned a two-way machloket. First of all, what's more strict? Hereg or chenek? I told you already. This we learned already a few times. Rabbi Shimon and Chachamim. Rabbi Shimon says it's chenek and then hereg, and according to Chachamim, hereg, chenek. And that's how we paskin. Another machloket. Yeah? What is stam mita by a goy? Stam mita by a goy, we always learned was saif. Now, according to Shitat Devei Menashe, it's chenek. So according to that, it comes out it's the same mita. Because when he committed adultery when he was a goy, what does he get? Chenek. When he commits adultery, if he's a Jew, what does he get? Chenek. So it doesn't change the mitah. So it doesn't change the mitah. That's why you're still going to be chayav. So says the Gemara, Bishlama eshatish. That's good according to the man that we're talking about eshatish. Shemi kara bechenek vehashtar bechenek. But what about rotzeach? At the beginning, he's going to be bechenek, and now he's going to be besaif. So what's going to happen? Meaning, when a Jew kills another Jew, it's saif. It's not chenek. And according to you, if the stam mita is going to be chenek for the goy, what's going on? So says the Gemara, the same halacha, the same thing that we mentioned before. Kala b'chamura mishach shayche. One more time. According to this shita, according to Rabbi Shimon, what's more chamur? Chenek. So the hereg, which is a lower form, is included in the chenek, according to Rabbi Shimon. So therefore, that's why it helps. So lema misayele. So why don't we say that this is a proof? Sarcha ve'achar kach bagra. What happens right now if you have a na'ara me'orasa that she's sarcha, she alcha, she's zanta, right? Zanta. And then afterwards, bagra. And then, so what happens now? So tidon bechenek. She only gets chenek. Meaning, even though she committed the adultery when she was a na'ara, but right now you're only judging her when she's already a bogeret, she only gets chenek. She doesn't get sekila. So biskila, why don't you give her the sekila? La mishum, isn't it because the whole yishtane because everything changes? V'chol sheken hachas, so to here kavachomer yishtane legamre. It completely changes everything, right? So he says because once she's become a bogeret, she changes the halacha. Remember, nara meorasa. You remember what we said? Nara lapuke ktana ubogeret. Meorasa lapuke nesua. Right? Betula lapuke beula. You remember we kept on saying that it has to be dafka, a girl that's going to be between 12 and 12 and a half. She cannot be more than 12 and a half. She cannot be less than 12. Right? She has to be that's nara. She has to be meorasa and not married, because if she's already married or already given over to the messengers of the father, that's it. She's already outside of the father's bevet avia, right? And there has to be betula. If she's not a betula, nada, right? If she wasn't a betula, that's why there were two people that went with her. The first one is chayav sekila. The second person is going to be chayav chenek. So he comes and he says, when it comes over here and it says ishtane, right? He says, so to here it's going to be completely ishtane. So Elmaleh, he says, Rabbi Yochanan Latana, Tani tidom eskila. You're right. He says, since during the time of the Avirah, she was chayavet sekila, so too now she should be chayavet also beskila, even though, right, it changed the status quo. Okay, we're just going to do the Mishnah very quickly on the bottom of Ayin Aleph Amud Bet, right? Ben Sorer Munen Nidon al Shem Sofo. The Ben Sorer is going to be judged according to the end result. Zakai, it's better that he should die Yamut Zakai, ve'al Yamut Chayav. He should be Yamut Zakai, that he's actually, right, not doing anything wrong, instead of being Yamut Hayav. Obviously, the Gemara. The Gemara is going to explain it. Yeah, but still, but he didn't kill anybody. That's why. No, but it's not chayav. It's not chayav. It's yamut zakai. At the end of the day, it's better. Why? Shemitatan shel reshaim hana'ah lahem v'hana'ah le'olam. When the reshaim die, it's good for everybody. Yeah, it's good for everybody. When the reshaim die, it's a party. Yeah, you understand? It's a party. He said tzadikim ra lahen. He says tzadikim is going to be ra lahen. Right? It says for the tzaddikim, if they die or something, it's bad for them, bad for the world. Yain v'shena is actually going to be ana for them. Why? They get drunk and then they go to sleep, so it's good. they're sleeping. As much as they sleep, the better that it is for them and for the world. For the tzaddikim, it's bad for them. Why? Because then they're not able to do Torah mitzvot. Pizul l'reshaim, when you separate the reshaim, you disperse them. It's good for them and good for the world. Tzaddikim, it's going to be bad for them, bad for the world. Kinus l'reshaim, if it's going to bring everybody together, right? You bring so it's not good. Why? Because they come and they start trying to do all these bad things together, right? You put them into jail, right? And then with all the other, right, the bandits, they learn how to become even worse. Tzaddikim is an alam. Shekel l'reshaim. If it's going to be shekel l'reshaim, it's bad for them, bad for the world. But for the tzaddikim, it's good for them and good for the world because they're able to come and to learn Torah.